What if I told you that a message written almost 700 years ago could give us a compass for navigating our world today? Well, we're about to unlock the wisdom of a single farewell poem from 14th century Korea. And believe me, its message on integrity has never been more relevant. Let's get into it. It's a question we all face, right? When everything feels unstable and the right path isn't obvious, what do you use to guide your actions? It feels like such a modern problem, but it turns out people were wrestling with this exact same thing centuries ago. The answer we're exploring today comes from a pretty amazing source, a poem written in Hanja. Now, Hanja is the Korean name for the Chinese characters that were the language of literature and government back then. This poem was basically a parting gift, a piece of crucial advice and a moral compass for a man heading into a seriously dangerous situation. Okay, so to really get this poem's message, we're going to break it down into 4 parts. First, we'll look at the high-stakes mission that sparked it. Then we'll see how the poet uses nature as this beautiful metaphor for our own duty. After that, we'll meet the 2 legendary heroes at the very heart of the poem. And finally, we'll pull it all together to see the timeless wisdom it offers on living a life of integrity. So, let's set the scene. What was going on that was so intense it inspired a poem like this? To understand, we have to travel back to the final, chaotic years of the Yuan Dynasty, a time of massive political turmoil. The poem is called送河南王使, which means sending off the envoy of the Prince of Henan. It was written by a scholar named Bak Sang-chung for his friend Gwak Yeong-seok. Now, Gwak was being sent on this diplomatic mission to a self-proclaimed prince inside a crumbling empire. I mean, the stakes just could not have been higher. All right, so the poem starts out by acknowledging the envoy's important job, but then it quickly pivots to something much, much bigger, the order of the universe itself. The poet is building his case very carefully, and he starts with a bit of praise. So here are the first 2 lines in their original Hanja. The sounds you're hearing are the Korean readings of these characters. The poet is really setting a grand stage here, talking up the envoy's power and influence. Let's zoom in on 2 key phrases here. First, Jung-hung. It means to restore something that's failing. In this context, the entire Yuan Dynasty. Then you have Chu-pung, which means rushing like the wind. It's this beautiful poetic image that doesn't just mean moving fast, it implies moving with this deep sense of respect and admiration. So, putting that together, this first bit is just massive praise. The poet is essentially saying, man, you are so powerful and so respected that all these important generals are practically falling over themselves to follow your lead. He's building his friend up, acknowledging the huge responsibility on his shoulders. But then, boom, right after that, the poem totally shifts gears. It moves from human power to the power of nature. And this next couplet is where the deeper philosophical message really starts to kick in. You can really see the poem's worldview in these 2 terms. Gyeong-gyo isn't just sky and ground. It's the entire cosmos, heaven and earth. And Joljong is just this brilliant metaphor. Think about it. Just as all rivers have to eventually flow to the sea, there is a natural, correct, and inevitable order to the universe. So the meaning here is kind of a reassurance, but also a little bit of a warning. The poet is telling his friend Gwak Yeong-seok, look, just as the universe has a natural order, and rivers know their destination, all this human chaos right now, it's going to get sorted out. The unspoken message, of course, is, make sure you're on the right side of things when it does. Okay, this brings us to the absolute heart of the poem. Now that the poet has established this idea of a cosmic order, he gives his friend some direct personal advice. And he does it by bringing up 2 of the most respected figures in all of East Asian history. This couplet right here, this is the core instruction. This is the moment the poem transforms from just a nice farewell tribute into a powerful lesson on integrity. He's basically saying, in this crisis, these 2 guys need to be your role models. So, who were they? Well, first you have Ai Yun, a legendary advisor from ancient China who is the very symbol of unwavering responsibility, or Chagan in Korean. And then there's Gong Myung, who you might know as Juk Liang, the brilliant strategist. He was the poster boy for absolute loyalty, Chung-sung, during a time of crisis. These guys were the real deal. So here's the crucial point. Bak Sang-chung is telling his friend, your duty is as heavy as Ian's, and the times are as dangerous as anything Gong Myung ever faced. So you have to act with their level of integrity. You need their sense of responsibility and loyalty. He's telling him not to compromise, not to bend to political pressure, but to hold on tight to what is right. And now we come to the end of the poem, where the poet looks to the future. He connects the envoy's righteous actions today to how he'll be judged by history tomorrow. These last two lines are both a blessing and a promise. They spell out exactly what will happen if the envoy listens to this advice and acts with true integrity. This brings us to a really cool term, Cheong-sa. It literally means blue history, and the story behind it is fascinating. The blue part comes from the ancient practice of writing histories on bamboo slips that were cured over a fire, which turned them a bluish-green color. So, to have your name written in the Cheong-sa means your story is being recorded forever in the official annals of history. And what would history record? A bolsegang. Now, this isn't just any great achievement. We're talking about a deed so monumental, so incredible, that it's rarely seen even once in a generation. It means creating a legacy that echoes through time. So the poem wraps up with this incredibly powerful incentive. If you act with the responsibility of Iyun and the loyalty of Gongmyong, if you serve with integrity, your success won't just be temporary. It will be a bulsegong, an unparalleled achievement written down for all time in the Cheong-sa. So what this 700-year-old poem really gives us is a clear set of principles for an honorable life. It's telling us, uphold righteousness above everything else. Act with sincerity and integrity. Serve with humility and respect. And if you do that, the poet suggests you earn a legacy that can last forever. You know, when it comes right down to it, the entire poem can be boiled down to this one powerful idea. The message from Bak Sang-chung to his friend, and really to us across all these centuries, is that unwavering, unbending integrity is the only real path to achieving lasting, meaningful honor. And that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. The poet hoped his friend's legacy would be one of responsibility and loyalty. And it kind of makes you wonder, right? If a poet were to write about our legacy, about how we acted in our own turbulent times, what virtues would we want them to highlight? What would our unparalleled achievement be?